always excited to share things that you can do to work on your money, your marketing, and your sales goals too with strategy and intention. New week, new work. We are digging into Start Now Week, which is inspired by my annual Back to Business webinar conference that's happening this week. So, all week, I want to talk to you about strategically starting now when it comes to different areas of your life and your business. Today, what we're going to do is to dig into how to start working at home full time. And basically, I want to give you a prep clarity session so that you can ask yourself a couple of smart questions. All right. So hopefully you know me. I am LaShonda Henry, aka Sister Sense. I've been online for almost 2 decades now as a web designer, infopreneur, and mentor. And I have basically been working at home since my son was about, I don't know, 3, 4 months old. So it's been a minute because he about to be 14 years old. It's been working for me. And if you would like to strategically get into a place where you're working at home for yourself full time, we're going to talk about that. So again, feel free to share this out, tag your business besties, because we are going to dig in. I have been building websites and mentoring and creating digital products and offering services online for many, many years. I feel like I can do that with my eyes closed. But if you are looking to get into that space, I want you to begin this process by preparing, right? Preparing for what needs to happen. As part of Back to Business, the virtual conference that's happening this Saturday, I'm going to do a full 5-point plan and talk about working from home. And I wanted to kick it off with this live today. Okay. So here's the deal. Some people prepare and they are like full steam ahead, crystal clear about what they need to do. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of fell into this thing called entrepreneurship. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to make money and work from home, but I didn't necessarily plan when it happened. Number one, I got pregnant. I was working my full time. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Brooklyn girl. Many, many years ago, working full time, found that I was pregnant. And I knew that I wanted to be a work at home mom. So that was the kind of like thing that propelled me to say, okay, this is my last year of working for somebody else. When my baby comes, I want to be able to work for myself at home. I, number two, was in a place when being in Brooklyn, I was in a space where just before we had the last extreme phase of gentrification in Brooklyn, they were like, yeah, you can't stay in this apartment anymore. And at the time, I had lived in that apartment building since I was a baby. Okay. And at the time, I was like 23, 24. So you're looking at 23 years in this apartment. Gentrification happening all over Brooklyn. Small businesses are closing. People getting kicked out their homes. I was a part of that. If it could go wrong, it did go wrong. Right. And so I want you to think about that because this has been a crazy year. I'm not going to go into all of the things that happened this year, all the things, but a lot of people have been furloughed. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people have been through some stuff. Right. And so it isn't always that you prepare and you're clear and you're crystal clear, aware of what it is that you want to do when you're ready to do this thing full time. Sometimes you get to a point where you at your lowest point and you like, okay, it's now or never, right? One of my favorite quotes is sometimes God brings you to your lowest point because there's something there for you to find. And for me, I'm telling you, baby, I went through it. Babies are a blessing. I always knew I wanted to have a baby, but that was unexpected. Then I quit my job. When we had our son, well, when I was pregnant, I found out I had gestational diabetes. I was in the hospital a lot. When we had our son and he was only a few months old, my hubby was accosted by the cops, and we spent several years in a case which we won because racism and police brutality is real. And we struggled with that, but we moved out of New York, had to go through PTSD and all that stuff. So when I tell you everything went wrong, when I decided to quit my job, new mom, new location from New York to North Carolina, it was a huge transition for me energetically. But again, sometimes God brings you to your lowest point because there is something there for you to find. I want you to remember that, because sometimes we get into a space where we feel like everybody has a perfect startup story. Mine was not perfect, baby. But guess what? I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And I want to let you know that whatever it is that you're trying to go, you can get there if you prepare. Okay. Hey, preparation is my weak point. All right, baby, we're going to get through that today. Hey, Lavon, Carlin, hey, welcome, welcome. Still going through it. Come on now. Hey, Jason. So awesome to see you here. All right, y'all, let's rock this out. I needed to share my story with you, okay? Because it ain't clean. It's full of the police brutality, gentrification, gestational diabetes, being a new mommy, everything that could possibly happen to me happened to me when I decided that I was going to do this thing called entrepreneurship and working at home. Everything, all the things, right? You preaching. Come on now. I know, but you sometimes you got to do that, right? Everything. There are a couple of things that I'm going to ask you today when it comes to working for yourself at home, online, full time. First question, are you ready? Are you scared? Are you ready? Who ready to work at home full time online? Are you ready? I wasn't ready. But when that baby was coming up inside of me, I was like, look now, I don't want to work for nobody. I want to be at home with my baby. I want to be a work at home mama, right? Sometimes God brings us to our lowest point because there's something there for us to find. I was at that point, I was like, all right, let's do this. Funny enough, when my son was just born, my hubby and we said, you know what? I lived in Brooklyn. Our landlord was giving us a time, even though I lived in that building for over 20 years at the time, because I was 24 and I grew up in that building. They wanted to kick us out. Gentrification was real, right? So we said, you know what, we're going to save up some money. We're going to find some place else to live, maybe see if we can get our own house or something. We're going to do something. My hubby went out to hang out with some friends living in Brooklyn. Then I get a call. You sitting down? No. Sit down. Jay's in jail. What you mean Jay's in jail? Some stuff went down, da 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 da. Jay is, when I say this dude don't hurt a fly, this dude don't hurt a fly. He is the mildest, meekest guy you could ever know. Long story short, police brutality case that we fought for 5 years and won. But that was the beginning of 5 years of challenge. Are you sitting down? We, by the grace of God, got him out of jail. He was broken and bloodied, and he had to have they tore his meniscus. They stole all his. They literally, because New York Police Department. I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm talking about my experience, because this is what I went through. They destroyed his jewelry. They threw away his IDs. Everything that they could possibly do. I'm telling you this because you are going to be challenged when you are ready to accept the challenge of going to your next level. Are you ready? The day that this happened to Jay, we decided that we were going to save and find another place to live, because landlord was like, you can't live here no more, right? Even though my mama had been living there all that time and I took over the apartment, and that was my blood, that was my life, that was my building. No, you can't live here no more. Time for us to raise the rent, because we were in a rent stabilized situation. I was paying like $500 something a month in rent. Who pays $500 something a month in rent in Brooklyn? Nobody, but they want to get us out, right? No more rent stabilization, all of that stuff. The day we decide that we're going to save up and leave, because we didn't want to battle with that anymore, is the day that he went through the beginning of his police brutality case. They accosted him, they threw him in jail, all of that, which is to say, God said, no, it's time for you to go. No, you're not staying in Brooklyn no more. No, you're not dealing with all of this no more. It's time for a new season. It's time for a new beginning. Who's ready? The first question I said to you today is, who's ready? Who is ready for a new season? Who is ready for a new beginning? Sometimes we trying to make it work. Sometimes we trying to find an easy solution, right? I hear, I know it's crazy, Roxanne. Sometimes we trying, but God is like, no, it's time for you to go. So after we got him out, even in the midst of his case, we moved to North Carolina. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you prepared for the transition? I wasn't much, but I started to save. We started to save. He was working at Rockefeller at the time. I had just transitioned because I was a counselor in New York, both working in Manhattan. And we realized that while we weren't necessarily ready for me to quit my job and do this thing called work at home entrepreneurship full time, God said, it's time. It's time. He positioned every possible challenge, right? Sometimes we think these challenges are, God's way of, or not even just energetically, we think that life is beating down on us, but it's preparing us for something different. Some of you guys, maybe you got let off or some things ain't working quite right. And you like, good God, can anything else go wrong? Those things are not happening to you because something is wrong. It's because something about to be very right. And it's about to show you how strong you really, truly, truly are. Are you ready? Are you prepared? So we were quietly preparing and didn't know what we were preparing for. We were putting a little bit of money aside. I ain't have a lot of sense, but I had a couple of something put aside. And we decided to move from New York to North Carolina. Why? Because it was a toss up. I said, either we go to North Carolina where your family at, or we go to Florida where my family at. He said, Florida too damn hot. Who don't like the heat? My hubby said Florida too damn hot. So even though North Carolina, honestly, where we live, is just as hot to me, right? But we do get a little bit of cold. So he balanced it out just a little bit, right? But in preparation, I quit the job. We started saving some money. We moved from New York to North Carolina because guess what? The cost of living was significantly less. So yes, I still was paying $500 and something because I got an apartment in North Carolina that was pretty much the same amount that I was paying in my rent stabilized apartment in New York without the police brutality and all the craziness and the gentrification and all the craziness, right? I'm telling you, we moved. When did we move, Lord? Christopher was born in 06. We moved 07. We moved in 07. So, Brooklyn now is like, the cost of living in Brooklyn is like Manhattan. Brooklyn is the new Manhattan. We moved before that happened, okay? Before the new stadium came up, before all the craziness, right? So thank you, by the way, Jason. I appreciate you. This is because, by the way, all week I'm talking to you guys about how to start now, because Start Now is the name of the webinar conference. Every year I have my Back to Business virtual webinar conference. We are pushing, motivating, really grooming you to start now, especially because this year has been so ripe with challenges, but also ripe with new beginnings. So I have some amazing speakers over at backtobusiness.me. I personally am going to share a 5-point plan to starting working at home, and I want you guys to prepare for it now, which is why I'm asking you these questions. Are you ready to start working for yourself at home full time? And are you prepared? I'm telling you specifically some of the things that I personally had to do. I had to transition from New York to North Carolina because the cost of living was less. I had to start putting some money aside, so I had a little bit of money, a cushion, when I was not working a full-time job anymore, right? Are you aware? Are you aware? Carolyn says, come on now. Not everyone is ready. And Noah was prepared. Come on now. Makes you stronger. Absolutely. I moved south in 2010 and moved back to New York in 2016. Rent is ridiculous, girl. You don't have to tell me. I know I still got family in Brooklyn. And I'm like, y'all paying more in rent than I paid now for my mortgage. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, how God is good. Didn't know how to drive. Didn't have a car, paying rent in New York. Moved down here to North Carolina, had no car, barely had $3,000-$4,000 in my bank account. Now we have a home. Now my car is paid off. Car note? What are you talking about? My hubby just bought another car. We got 3 cars in the driveway. Okay. I got the picket fence. I got the dog. I got the cat. I got the boy. He's 14. Bless God, doing what he need to do in his junior high life. That's the transition, right? Sometimes everything that we went through, we had no money, getting kicked out the house, gestational diabetes. I'm managing that. I'm working on my diabetes. Bless God. He got me. He got me. But we had to go through all of that to get here. But I had to be prepared. I had to get ready. I had to be prepared, and I had to become aware. Aware of what, you ask? How much does it take for you to sustain your life? I needed to know how much it was going to cost me for every bill. Even though we had to drink apple water a couple days because I couldn't afford the Mott's. I couldn't afford the Tropicana orange juice. We had to drink apple water and apple orange. You know, when it's 90% water and then a little bit of some, they just kind of, it wasn't quite apple juice. They just kind of washed the apples, and then whatever that ran off, they put that in a bottle called it apple juice for like 59 cents. That's what we had to drink. Okay. I had to put myself on a budget, but you have to be aware of how much you need to sustain so that you are prepared to do that. You're prepared to do that. I knew that if nothing else, I could pay a little $550 for a rent. I could drink my apple water. Carla said, didn't kill you. No, it didn't, baby. Didn't. Hey, Salita. Welcome, welcome. So awesome to see you here, my dear. I know, right? Y'all laughing at me. Come on now. I got on my budget, but I knew how much we needed. Some folks, they got leased cars. They paying, $2,000-$3,000 for just, rent alone. I ain't got time for all that. I needed to know that even if I just had $1,000 for the month, I could pay my bills, eat some food, get that Similac. Bless God, I got these 2 boobies right here, so I breastfed a whole lot. That boy was breastfed till he was rolling in his stroller. I was like, look, now you got to get off of these. It's time to go. But I was aware of what we needed to maintain. You need to trim the fat. You want to work at home full time? No matter what, whether it was a good month or a slow month, I could pay my bills, I could keep the lights on, and the baby was fed. That was the most important thing for me. Now, we didn't have a car at the time, so I'm going to tell y'all a joke. When we came to North Carolina, we went to my hubby's mom's house, right? And we took the baby. We took the Greyhound bus from where she lived to where we moved, which was Greenville, North Carolina. We took the Greyhound bus with the baby. First of all, we took the Greyhound from New York to North Carolina because that was the cheapest way to travel, number one. Then we took the Greyhound again from her house to Greenville. I literally, straight out of a movie, we said, okay, we're going to get a house here. The goal was to get a house, but it didn't turn out that way. We ended up getting an apartment, but that was the better solution. Ripped out of the yellow pages at the motel, the Greenville motel that we were at, ripped out the yellow pages, all the different places that we can go for looking at houses, looking at apartments. Long story short, we ended up at an apartment that was across the street from a Walmart called Keswick. So we called ourselves Team Keswick. We were like, we're going to get this apartment. Why? Because we didn't have a car. So we needed to be able to walk across to Walmart, to Target, to Barnes and Nobles, and take the bus. And all of that was right there. We're New Yorkers, right? We don't know how to do this Southern thing. So being able to live some big place that was easy because we were aware of our limitations worked for us. We got the apartment. My son's stroller was an Eddie Bauer stroller. I think it was my mom who got us that stroller. We used to call the stroller the Escalade. We used to joke, you got to make, the Bible says humble beginnings. You got to make light and love of little things. And we would call his Eddie Bauer stroller the Escalade because that's how we roll. We would have Walmart bags on one side, Target bags on the other, baby on strapped to me on the. That's how we rolled for like the first 3 years, right? But you got to be aware of your limitations. You got to be aware of how much money you need to sustain yourself. so that you can sustain yourself, right? So we trimmed all the fat, trimmed everything that was living in New York to living in North Carolina. That made the dream real. First things that I asked you today: are you ready? Are you aware? Are you prepared? Are you ready? Are you aware? Are you prepared? Are you equipped? Are you equipped? Are you equipped? Now, in the midst of gentrification, getting kicked out, leaving my job, we were squirreling away funds so that outside of money that we had a savings. Are you equipped with some money? Because I didn't tell you that my hubby, being my hubby, decided to go hang out with, dudes be messing around doing some crazy stuff. They all up into the taekwondo, karate, chopping stuff. He go messing around with them. Oh yeah, I'm gonna chop that side of that thing. Thought it was a tree, but it had a steel pole. Broke his leg in the middle of packing. So he was out because he wasn't working. His leg was broken. We just moved to a new location, didn't have no job in North Carolina. All I had was what I was equipped with, which was my savings. Hubby with broken leg, new baby. My baby was maybe about 4 or 5 months old. He was a couple months old at the time. Thank God for the low limited funds that was my rent at like 500 something dollars a month, but we were equipped. We had a savings. Okay. And I'm telling you, if Jason is like, ouch, come on now. Everything was all these little random challenges. And I could have told you this. I could have said 5 things, give you 5 questions, and kept it moving. I'm sharing my backstory because most of y'all probably haven't heard it in a long time or ever heard it. Number one, I'm sharing it. Number two, because this year is one of the years that you go, damn, if something could go wrong, it did go wrong. And we still in it, right? And I say that to say, these things happen not just because, dang, what's wrong with me? It's because it's meant to make us stronger. We don't know what it's preparing us for on the other side. So I equipped myself with a cushion, and I encourage you to do the same. It wasn't a lot of money, honey. I don't even think it was $4,000 straight. But baby, I stretched it. I drank that apple water and I stretched it as long as as long as I can stretch it. God helps those who help themselves. Amen. So I don't know how God made that thing work, but he did. I felt like Miss Mary Mack. Remember? Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents? We stretched it, boy. We made that dollar out of that 15 cents. Are you set up? So not only was I equipped with a savings, but I was set up because I had a sustainable side hustle that I could turn into a successful business. I didn't just come down here, I didn't have a job, but I did have a skill. One of my favorite quotes is, you can always get fired from a job, but you can never get fired from your gifts. So find your gifts and you will never be out of work. Come on now. I knew what my gift was. I have a talent for writing. I have a talent for design. So I had a side hustle from New York, building websites, writing content. I came down here self-published. I came down here with gigs. People were saying, hey, can you do some graphics for me? I remember when we were in our little apartment here in North Carolina, my first $1,000 check. This lady said, hey, I need you to do a website for me. I'm gonna give you $1,000. Baby, I ran around that chair, that couch. I was like, Jesus! She said she was gonna give me $1,000, Lord. Baby. I ran around that couch. Woo! Lord, I'm getting $1,000. It was the beginning of something for me, right? Absolutely. That is why I love my gifts. Absolutely. What is your gift? Come on now, drop it in the comment box. Let me see, what is your gift? Antoinette says, you preaching now. Got to, because there's no more time to waste. Everything that you've been feeling, everything that you've been going through, all the ways that this year has been moving, I said, LaShonda, the agenda for Back to Business this year is start now. Because to be clear, folks need to start. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, maybe you started some aspect of this thing called entrepreneurship, but you need to start taking it to the next level. That's the vision. That's what we're trying to do, because I've been challenged and following you. Come on. Hey, Roxanne. Hey, Roxanne, I feel you. If you feel like you've been challenged in some way, now is the time to start that next level. So I equipped myself with a cushion, number one. And number two, I had a sustainable side hustle. So when I came down here full steam ahead, I was working on my service because I knew that I could build websites for people. I was working on my graphic design because when I couldn't get people to buy a website, I was doing $30 and $50 graphics. I had something sustainable. I was working on tapping into new income streams. I started to write ebooks. I started to do advertising. I remember I said, you know what? I need to make some sense of Google AdSense. And then I learned how to bring in at least $10,000 a year. Bless God, I said a month. I learned how to bring in at least $10,000 a year using Google ads on my website back in the day. I don't do that stuff no more. But I had to learn. And that started with a sustainable side income. Do you have something that you know you can turn into something bigger than what it is right now if you had the time to really focus on it, to breathe life into it, right? To build it up so that it got you when nothing else got you. Because I tell you, I don't have to worry about somebody letting me go because I got me. I'm sustaining me. And that's the reality that I want you to have too. I want you to create a business that sustains you. Salitas is sewing. Come on now. You know how many people sewing and making so much money with these face masks right now? Hey, Antoinette. I'm a teacher by day. I started food blogging and sewing. I teach. Let's see. I teach I take the ouch out of sales and show people how to close prior to doing any presentation. My gifts, writing, consulting, and speaking. I'm a media planner, storyteller, content producer, researcher, and more. Come on, you know your gift. I know my Jason know his gifts. Right? These are the things that honestly you need to be able to have a sustainable work at home business. Now, not everybody is prepared, ready, like they know, okay, this is the thing that I'm going to do to get off and do this thing full time. A lot of us have to go through something, and I went through a whole lot of somethings, okay? Either you ready because you prepared for it, or you in a place that has positioned you to go nowhere up, but there ain't nowhere else to go but up right now, right? So first thing I said is, are you ready? Is it time to go? Is it time to start, right? What are you doing to prepare for this new phase in your life when it comes to preparation? Are you aware of what it's going to take to sustain you, your family, your spouse, your children, your livelihood, right? Are you aware of what you need to do? I moved. I changed my cost of living. I did what I needed to do. Glow up is real, y'all. I am sweating like nobody's business. I don't know what I'm gonna tell you. Whew, good. This doggone ring light is super bright. I wasn't supposed to be on here preaching this doggone long. But God says yes, so how can I say no? Are you aware of what you need, again, to sustain and make this thing real for you? Everybody want to win the lotto. Everybody want to work at home, and they just kind of want it to magically happen and fall into their lap. You have to be aware of how much you need and how you're going to realistically sustain. A lot of people said, why are you doing that? You crazy. You leaving New York? You leaving Brooklyn? You leaving your Caribbean food? Because yes, I am a Jamaican. You leaving your Caribbean food? What you crazy, girl. First, they'll ask you why. Then they'll ask you how. Because you best believe when I get back to Brooklyn and folks is like, girl, I can't believe you've been working for yourself that long. Girl, I can't believe you making all that money online. Girl, I got an idea, right? Can you help me figure out how I can make this happen? First, they'll ask you how. Why? Why are you doing all of that? Then once you get it done, they'll ask you how. That's the truth. That ain't nothing but the truth. So make sure that before all of the naysayers come at you, you know internally what you need to do to make this real for you. You are aware of what you need. You are equipped. You have some sort of savings, some sort of something to cushion you as you go through the next phase, the next season, and you are set up. You've started the process of establishing at least one side hustle that's bringing you in something that you now are deciding that you want to double and triple and 4x to up to 10x plus, right? Because that's what you need to do. You can't just come off and hope and wish and pray. You got to have something working for you, right? Now, here's the deal. Those are 5 questions I believe that I asked you. As I said, I'm going to give the 5-point work at home plan as part of the Back to Business virtual conference over at backtobusiness.me. It's the place to be this Saturday. So make sure that you are in attendance, number one, and you can check the speakers as well as the agenda. We've got a full day of sessions. Number 2, all week, make sure you turn on alerts and notifications so you can see when I'm live, so you can jump on here live with me, because all week I'm going to be sharing some things that you need to do to start now in preparation for your next winning season. Today, specifically, I wanted you to really and truly, if you say, I realistically want to start working at home full time for myself. I know I preached a lot. I know I shared a lot, but I want you to dig in a lot into you specifically. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you aware? Are you equipped? Are you set up with some sort of sustainable side hustle that you can transition from a 9 to 5 into a full time for you? Those are some questions I want you to reflect on and ask yourself, right? Got to make sure I make that clear, because sometimes you could get off of here and be like, well, what was the point of that? They said a lot of something, something. They got me feeling something, something. But what did I get from that? I need you to know that the 5 questions that I gave you, I want you to ask yourself, right? If you are in a place where you go, I do want to transition, but I don't have a sustainable side hustle. I do have some questions. There are quite a few things that are happening as part of Back to Business. Number one, again, I have some great speakers. I got my girl Rhonda Turquoise Blue. She's going to be talking to you about side income secrets. Plus, as part of the Start and Grow bundle that I've attached to Back to Business, there's a whole training series in there on how to get your ish together, how to get customers, how to get side income, all that stuff. So there's extra training in there to support you. I did a 3-hour training just on side hustles. I did a whole 3-day training on starting your business, setting up your pages, your packages, your promotions. 3 days, that's in there too. Because I don't want to just have you on here feeling good and listening to folks who sound good. I need you to be able to implement. Somebody write this down. Ideas are great. Implementation is better. Ideas are great. Implementation is better. So outside of the Back to Business full day of amazing sessions that we're going to have this Saturday, I made sure that I've included additional trainings and workshops and sessions so you can get all the meat, because I'm a meat and potatoes kind of a girl, all the meat and potatoes that we have as part of the Power Circle to really empower you and direct your next best steps when it comes to starting now. This is confirmation for me. Come on now. That's something for me. That if I could say something that somebody out here needs to hear, I did my job. That's all I'm here to do, right? To motivate, encourage, and direct you. Because things happened to me energetically, and along the way, there were people who entered my life at divine right times to motivate, encourage, and direct me. So it just is fitting to pass the torch, right? Soon you will be that person to say, girl, I was trying to get there. Now I got there. So I'm about to pull a couple of people up to help them get there too, right? That's what the Power Circle is all about. I created Back to Business many, many moons ago. And when I started it, I said, listen, the success of your business depends upon the company that you keep. So my goal is to ensure that folks who come in my company stay in good company, which is why I bring around nobody but the best bodies to encourage, motivate, and direct your steps when it comes to starting now, because that's the agenda this year, and getting back to business to make sure that you guys are crystal clear. So that's it from me. me. I'm signing out today. I truly, truly appreciate you guys for coming on here. Share, 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 so folks can watch this replay. Number one. Number two, don't forget, turn on alerts and notifications so you can see when I'm live, so that you can jump on here live with me if ever you needed to. You could also call me. You can call me, you can email me. I love the fact when you go over to thisisasense.com website, you can send me voice messages and I can talk right back to you. It's only 90 seconds, okay? So say as much as you possibly would want to say in 90 seconds. But then, of course, you can send me voice messages or you can email sistasense@gmail.com. Okay. So those are just a couple of things I wanted to put into your ear. And I'm going to be right back here tomorrow with another dose of fire direction and focus. But of course, until then, make sure that you take a look at all the good that is the Back to Business experience, and you let me know. You let me know if there is anything that you need. Prophecy, amazing, amazingness. Truly, truly, you truly love on your crowd. I try. All right, y'all. Mwah. Big hugs from me to you. Till tomorrow. Take care. Bye.